Harry Potter has touched the lives of millions worldwide. After breaking nearly every best-selling book record, this famous boy wizard has become a cultural phenomenon.
With magic, anything can happen. I think people like to read about that. I know I do.
I was one of the biggest Harry Potter fans ever.
The magical story created from the imagination of a single mother.
3 was the best writing experience I ever had.
Spawned a bestseller turned Hollywood screenplay.
Quidditch. Oh, that is so cool. I wish I thought of that.
And from literally thousands of hopefuls,
They chose me, which was amazing.
3 young actors have come to embody the characters of Harry Potter we all know so well.
No, this is all a dream. Pinch me.
The result? Nearly $2 billion at the box office. And that's just the first 2 films. Now it's time for the next chapter in this page-to-screen phenomenon.
I am so overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. It's amazing. It's so brilliant that everyone's come out.
I just can't believe it.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban will undoubtedly rival the success of its predecessors, adding new depth to familiar themes with a chilling new approach.
The first one is incredibly intense emotionally. It's a lot darker. It's just another progression.
Really got goosebumps when I saw a couple of those things.
Everything has changed. It's very, very upbeat.
It's very funny, it's very suspenseful.
It's different, but it's good.
Harry Potter and his friends are growing up.
Draco himself has matured.
Filthy little mudblood.
Foul and loathsome evil little cockroach.
Slightly.
She's rock and roll. She's girl power.
That felt good.
Returning cast members are joined by some of Britain's greatest actors.
Welcome to another year at Hogwarts.
I feel as though I've been in it for years.
Magical new creatures. And a fresh new direction.
It's Alfonso's version of my world. It's his baby.
He's got this boundless energy. I don't know where he gets it from.
They were willing to explore emotional territories that they hadn't explored before.
Join us as we explore the captivating world of Harry Potter, where we go behind the scenes with rare footage and stories from all 3 films.
I think all are, to some extent, a story about a boy looking for a father.
And preview an exclusive scene from the new movie, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
It really is magic.
Expecto Patronum!
It's all part of Harry's wonderful world of witchcraft and wizardry. In the magic touch of Harry Potter. Harry Potter has captured the imagination of moviegoers the world over.
Set up this bar where we want to just consistently, hopefully, top ourselves and make better films.
Today, the phenomenon of this formidable franchise includes 5 published books with 2 more on the way, 2 blockbuster films, the premiere of a 3rd movie, and a 4th film already in production.
3 was the best writing experience I ever had. Of the 5 books that are published, writing Azkaban was the easiest.
The latest film to come out of J.K. Rowling's celebrated series is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Sirius Black has escaped from Azkaban prison. He's a murderer.
All teenagers kind of have a lot of problems, but Harry's majorly screwed up in this one. First of all, I mean, he thinks somebody's actually trying to kill him.
I want you to swear to me you won't go looking for Black.
Why would I go looking for someone who wants to kill me?
I'm this dark sort of figure who has escaped, and I'm after Potter.
Sirius Black has spent the last 12 years in prison because it is thought that he was responsible for the murder of Harry's parents and several others.
If you want to kill Harry, you'll have to kill us too.
No, only one would die tonight. Then it'll be you!
This is where Harry literally learns how to take care of himself. He literally saves his own life without realizing it, and he finds his father, as it were.
Are you going to kill me, Harry?
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban explores some of the same themes as the first 2 films.
I think all are, to some extent, a story about a boy looking for a father, and what happens to people who don't have fathers.
What is it the boy's father did for Junior?
Nothing. He didn't work. He was unemployed.
And a drunk too, no doubt.
That's a lie.
What did you say?
My dad wasn't a drunk.
In 1990, J.K. Rowling was a struggling single mother living in Scotland who sat in coffee shops and spun a fantastical story about an orphan boy who discovers he's a wizard. At the time, she had no notion of the magic she was brewing. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone eventually transformed Rowling into the most successful scribe of children's literature of all time, and Hollywood came calling. By the fall of 1998, the former French teacher collaborated with Warner Brothers Pictures to bring Harry Potter to life on the big screen.
When I first met Jo, I made a promise to her that we would be faithful to the book.
Knight to e5. That's wizard's chess.
With the challenge to live up to the material, the film's producers set out to hire a director with the right magic for the mix.
We met with several directors, and one of whom was Chris Columbus.
I had the opportunity to essentially go in and audition for the role. I mean, there were a lot of directors who were interviewed. I just felt like it didn't matter to me. I knew I wanted to do this movie. I knew I was meant to do this movie.
And action!
I was willing to do anything. If they wanted me to sing and dance, I would have tried that, if it meant that I had the opportunity to direct the movie.
I'll say 1, 2, 3, and action. The food appears. Set!
After meeting these people and hearing what they had to say and their passion for the material, there was no question in our mind that Chris was the right person for the job.
Big reaction. That's almost lunchtime for you guys. Yeah.
Quiet, please.
My feeling was to work with Jo Rowling as much as possible to understand sort of what she saw in this world.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what? Wow.
He was just very clearly the right director. He understood the material. He got it.
Chris Columbus, who had made his mark directing Home Alone and Mrs. Doubtfire, was hired in the spring of 2000. Then the hunt began for the perfect Harry Potter.
Finally, your chance to become a movie star. The makers of the new Harry Potter film are looking for children to play the 3 main roles in the multi-million-pound film.
By July, they auditioned over 16,000 kids, but they still did not have their Harry.
Steve Clovis and I walked into the theatre and there was this boy, and so I was struck by him, and all through the play I could barely pay attention. I realized that this boy had something very special, had the quality that we were looking for.
The twist was, he was not discovered on stage, but was just another member in the audience. Not long after, 11-year-old Daniel Radcliffe was called in for an audition.
And we sent a tape up to Jo Rowling to get her approval. She felt that Dan was the perfect Harry. She said something like, I feel like I've been reunited with my long-lost son.
There must have been hundreds of millions of people that auditioned, and they chose me, which was amazing.
We always talked about this haunted quality that Harry had, because Harry has essentially lived his life in a cupboard under the stairs.
What have you got to say for yourself?
I swear, I don't know how it happened. 1 minute the glass was there, and then it was gone. It was like magic.
And suddenly to be thrown into Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, where he's suddenly accepted by people and he suddenly realizes that he has to confront his fears.
Good afternoon.
I realize it takes an actor of great depth and intelligence to play that role. And Dan Radcliffe is the only 11-year-old I've ever met who has that quality. You just see it in his eyes. This is a really deep soul, and that's what I loved about him.
Of course. There are other things defending the stone, aren't there? Spells, enchantments.
That's right. Waste of bloody time, if you ask me.
We tested a lot of kids, and once we saw these 3 kids on screen together, we realized that there was an enormous amount of chemistry between them, and we thought, these are the kids.
It's locked. That's it. We're done for. Oh, move over. Alohomora. Get in. Alohomora. Standard Book of Spells, Chapter 7.
There they are. It's Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, and, of course, Daniel Radcliffe. Thank you.
I was like, oh my God, I just stood there. Thought, no, this is all a dream, pinch me.
155, take 4.
And then it all started happening.
And background, action!
With Emma Watson, who plays Hermione, I just found her to be very much like the character I had read in the books. Intelligent.
You're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
and with a great sense of herself, and also just an amazing actress. And Rupert Grint, same thing.
You're a little scary sometimes. I was one of the biggest Harry Potter fans ever, and just to play Ron in the Harry Potter film has really been fantastic.
When I met him, I thought, this is Ron Weasley.
All right, Harry, you take the empty Bishop Square. Hermione, you'll be the Queenside Castle. And as for me, I'll be a knight.
For me, the opportunity to work with some of these people is a dream come true. This is the first time that I can remember I've ever had the opportunity of getting the first person I had listed for each role. So it was Richard Harris, perfect Dumbledore.
Let the feast begin. My granddaughter called me and said, Papa, she said, if you don't play Dumbledore, I will never speak to you again.
Maggie Smith, perfect for Professor McGonagall.
There's some wonderful parts. You often get to play wizards and things like that. It's great.
Robbie Coltrane was the first choice for Hagrid.
I think my son would have killed me if I hadn't done it, really. Of course I know, Harry. Of course I do. Who do you suppose it was that carried you from your parents' house Halloween night 10 years ago?
Because people loved the book so much, they wanted to be in the film. That's how we were able to get such an amazing cast together. As our first choices not only made themselves available, but were anxious to do the film.
I don't know how you three found out about the stone, but I assure you it is perfectly well protected. Now, will you please go back to your dormitories? Quietly.
When you see total quality, you want to be part of it. You, Harry, who have never known your family, you see them standing beside you. But remember this, Harry. This mirror gives us neither knowledge or truth.
The popularity of Harry Potter continues to grow around the world. The first two films in the franchise have been seen in more than 60 countries. And in 2001, the Isle of Man honored the sensational series by issuing legal tender in the form of gold and silver coins. Her Majesty on one side and Harry Potter on the other.
I present Joe Rowling.
The phenomenon of Harry Potter has translated into immense success for J.K. Rowling. She's become one of the wealthiest women in the world. Today, her worth is estimated to be more than the Queen of England. And it all began with the fairy tale story of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Hagrid, we know he's after the stone, we just don't know why.
Snape is one of the teachers protecting the stone. He's not about to steal it.
What?
You heard.
Based on the book, the first film was released in November 2001. The supernatural story of witchcraft and wizardry grossed nearly $1 billion worldwide.
That was bloody brilliant.
Oh, thank you for that assessment, Mr. Weasley.
If anybody could work out what has attracted these millions and millions and millions of children to read, apart from anything else, that would be, you know, something that would be worth finding out. And I don't think anybody will ever get to the bottom of that, but something has actually caught everybody's imagination.
Swish and flick. Everybody. Swish and flick.
I think it's magic. It's a global, universal hope in people's lives that maybe there's a little bit of magic in my life.
Harry Potter is a boy who, like all of us, has flaws.
Tell me, what would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood? You don't know?
I don't know, sir.
Pity.
It's a very dark story. You're dealing with a child whose parents have been killed.
An orphan is someone that has to live without parents.
I don't need a cloak to be invisible.
To have to do without that, that seems like a real hero.
It's his quest for an identity, his quest to find out who he is.
It's about his transition from being what he thought was a completely normal boy into a hero of a magical kingdom. The character of Harry kind of jumps off the page at you. He's so real. I can think of quite a few boys like him.
He's gone? Now? But this is important. This is about the Sorcerer's Stone!
Throughout the film, Harry discovers that there is such a thing in his life as hope, something he's never had. There is magic, and he finds his inner strength and courage as he needs to face his deepest and darkest fears later in the film.
Nearly 1,000 crew members worked more than 6 months shooting the first film.
It's magical, but it's also a fantastic demonstration of people's skill. And the great joy of filmmaking, of course, is that it's not a solitary activity. It's a huge team of people.
Harry Potter. Can't tell you how pleased I am to meet you. The people that work towards making this happen are all very, 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 very good at what they do.
Fascinating subject. Not that you need it, eh, Potter?
My goal was to be as true to the integrity of the material, and I felt that the only way to do that was to remain faithful to the book.
Your father left this in my possession before he died. It is time it was returned to you. Use it well.
The creative crew consulted author J.K. Rowling during the production.
She was this fantastic resource in helping us deepen the world and be true to the world that she'd created.
Some kind of cloak. Well, let's see then. Put it on. Whoa! My body's gone!
To see this one person's imagination made flesh and bones and blood in such an extraordinary way. I mean, we were shooting The Great Feast in the Great Hall, and this is an enormous set with 300 children with their little pointy black hats on, and grown-up actors getting to dress up.
Let the feast begin.
One of the mantras in the film for us when we were making it was, we want this to be unlike anything we've ever seen. We want to do things that really you have no other filmic reference for. You don't have any filmic reference for a ceiling that reflects the night sky.
If you took 1 million people, and J.K. Rowling was one of them, then she'd probably be the only one out of those people to think up Quidditch. And when I read it, I'm like, oh, that is so cool. I wish I thought of that.
The sets are so extraordinary. I mean, Stuart Craig has done the most amazing job.
What's pleasing about what we've done and what we're continuing to do is the number of children especially who said, oh, it's just like I imagined it would be.
It's a very accurate representation of Joe Rowling's world, and that's one of the things I'm most proud of.
In November 2001, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone debuted on more screens than any film in movie history at the time.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
That, and as you get down, lift the books like that, looking over the books.
Within weeks, shooting began on the second film, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
And then down like this.
Laugh if you will, Mr. Finnegan. See what you make of them. No!
The second film has proved to be much more of a challenge, but hopefully I've met the challenge.
Ron, this is it. The monster in the Chamber of Secrets is a basilisk. That's why I can hear it speak.
And it's really much easier now. We all got to know each other and relax with each other.
Sorry, love.
The differences in the second one, I think that what we really wanted to explore is the fact that the kids are getting older. It's the second year at Hogwarts for these 3 children.
This is bad.
What's bad? If I hadn't told that snake not to attack Justin, then who knows?
That's what you said to her.
I was watching Dan and Rupert standing there, and I thought, they don't stand like wee boys anyway.
Essentially, the kids grew up together. Shooting back-to-back movies, they became best friends.
I wouldn't have swapped this for anything. It was a really fun time. It's the best experience, especially me, Rupert and Emma, and some of the other kids have developed really strong bonds now as well.
Amazing to me, casting chemistry of the central trio. Clearly get on very well, and you are a good company.
You're so determined to embarrass me.
I'm not determined to embarrass you. I'm determined to be taller than you are.
They don't seem like 50-year-old lawyers, which a lot of American child actors do.
But if there really is a Chamber of Secrets, and it's really been opened, that means that
The heir of Slytherin has returned to Hogwarts. And if the heir of Slytherin has returned to Hogwarts, The question is, who is it?
It's all about making those kids, the core of kids, feel comfortable on the set, and they really love being there.
That's fantastic. That is great. But guys,
He is a fantastic director.
scared down here. The three of you scared down here is fantastic. You guys just naturally ended up here, which is great.
Somehow, he kind of takes away the stress and makes it fun.
Don't think of that. So the first one, you know, Scabbers is there. 1, 2, 3.
Brachiam. Emendo.
The new defense against the dark arts teacher in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets was anything but dark.
Yes, well, that can sometimes happen.
Gilderoy is something of a dandy.
Tut. Hardly any of you remember that my favorite color is lilac.
He struts rather peacock kind of side to him.
Hermione is seriously dreamy about Lockhart. He is basically the Brad Pitt of her day.
As you can see,
And
he sportingly agreed to help
she's
us.
just obsessed with him.
Now, I don't want any of you youngsters to worry. You'll still have your notions.
Every lesson, she just sits there with her hands like this going, oh, I love him, I love him, I love him.
Well, there you have it. That was a disarming charm.
Girls love him. Boys hate him. They're just embarrassed by him. He's cringeworthy. He's just, ugh.
Thank you, Miss Clearwater. Yes, an excellent idea to show them that, Professor. But if you don't mind me saying so, it was pretty obvious what you were about to do.
He pretends to be brave and strong, and he pretends to be a gracious person, but in reality, he's not any of those things. He's a complete and utter phony.
It's a burden to be Gilderoy Lockhart, but it has to be done.
Now, Draco, play nicely. Mr. Potter. Lucius Malfoy. We meet at last.
Jason Isaacs' character is Lucius Malfoy. He is a slime ball, basically.
Out of my way, Potter.
I do my best to get Dumbledore out of the way. It's always on my agenda to get Harry out of the way.
How very fortunate we are, Mr. Potter, to have you around to save the day.
The camera loves him, and unfortunately, the camera loves him in a really evil way. He personifies evil to me on screen.
Forgive me. Your scar is legend, as of course is the wizard who gave it to you.
In the first story, you saw my son Draco, and I watched the first film to see who my son was and maybe decide how to play his dad.
Do you think there's someone here who's worse than Dumbledore?
His dad comes into play. So he gets a lot worse, and poor old Harry seems to take the blow.
Good one, girl. You're absolutely right. Saint Potter.
My main aim in this film has been to be booed and hissed and hated as much as possible.
Come, Dobby. We're leaving.
Even scarier than some of the characters were the strange new creatures lurking about Hogwarts.
Well, I was a bit jumpy about that scene because I'm really scared of spiders.
Fast!
So I didn't know really what to expect.
Grab, you grab it. You can grab it harder than that. Fight him, right? Right? Then he'll say, move to your right. No, your other right. And then he's zapped.
3, 2, fight!
Giant spiders were only part of the brew that made for a much creepier film.
Well, the book's a little darker, and the script's darker.
Do you know?
Harry himself finds out he may be the link to the mystery inside the Chamber of Secrets.
Chamber of Secrets.
He's actually a suspect in terms of being the heir of Slytherin, the person who's causing the potential deaths of a lot of people around the school.
It's got a lot more emotional depth, especially to Harry's character. It's a lot scarier, a lot darker, a lot creepier.
It was also exciting to make a slightly more of an action-adventure film this time around, which is really exciting to me. It appeals to the 10-year-old boy inside of me.
Scared, Potter? You wish.
Hollywood stunt magicians help prepare these dueling wizards for a fierce grudge match.
Inverte status!
I like doing stunts as long as there's not too much chance of death and pain involved.
Rictus Emperor!
I've now developed kind of two instincts. If I'm in a situation in the film, I think, how would Harry react to this? And so I try to bring that across onto the screen.
In Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the world's most famous wizard battles nightmares with newfound confidence.
Wood, look out!
It's a lot of fun. I am so lucky. How many kids in the world would pay thousands to be doing this right now?
Can't be there yet.
What's going on?
Dunno. Maybe we've broken down.
For the last 4 years, tourism has skyrocketed in the United Kingdom, thanks in large part to the magical adventures of a wizard named Harry Potter.
This is where they use the backdrop for the scenes where Harry goes into the trophy room.
Scores of fans come to visit Harry Potter film locations, from southern England to the Highlands of Scotland, where filming took place on the new movie, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Set and action!
Begun in February of 2003, the massive production spanned 9 months.
Remarkable feat, don't you think? To enter Hogwarts Castle on one's own, completely undetected.
Yes, quite remarkable, yes.
Any theory as to how he might have managed it?
Many, many, each as unlikely as the next.
For the first time since Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, someone new was in the director's chair.
You're about to lose the battle when finally comes out, okay? So you want to... With that, yeah, your patron.
Just by looking at the film, you can tell it's a different director.
I probably didn't have the physical energy to get into a third one immediately.
If we come from here...
Had a list of directors, thought, wouldn't it be great if somebody like Alfonso Cuarón would do the movie? We found out that he loved the first 2 movies, he was in love with the material, and he wanted to do it.
Chris Columbus remained on board as producer, and they made the interesting choice of bringing on Mexican director Alfonso Cuarón, who made the art house hit Y Tu Mama Tambien.
This universe of Hogwarts was really well put together by the 2 previous movies.
Yeah.
The art of wisdom, but at the same time, the eccentricity.
Yes.
He was very respectful of the world that Chris Columbus had created.
He's turning that direction.
And yet, we felt it was important that he be allowed to make it his own.
All the kids are going to be stopped there, and obviously they will let Filch and Dumbledore go through. What made the whole thing different was just the approach to that universe. It's going to be very good. We expanded the universe of Hogwarts, but we tried to be organic to the universe already established in the first 2 films.
Really took, I have to say, Alfonso's eye, I think, to really come in and tie the stuff together.
He's like Christopher. He's got this boundless energy. There must be some extra gene in directors of this kind of film, because it's absolutely endless.
It looks good when you... Okay, move that, please. And now do the sound. Do the sound. Move this. Okay.
What drew me to Alfonso was he embodied or had shown many of the qualities that I thought were appropriate for this particular film, for The Prisoner of Azkaban.
I want to try to tell the movie with a style that was as fluid as possible. As if the camera comes, say, okay, give me your hand, and the camera just takes you through the whole ride.
Alfonso has had very good intuition about what would and wouldn't work. He's put a lot of humour in there, and I think it's fantastic.
What do you mean? Look at it. Blink. There you go.
Everything that I've learned with Chris Columbus, I'm now getting a chance to put into practice with a new director.
I was the luckiest guy because I got these 3 kids that they've done already 2 Harry Potters.
He came with a lot of new ideas.
I asked them to please write an essay in which they were going to write in first person their bio till the moment in which the movie starts, but from the standpoint of the characters.
He was very trusting. He wanted us to put a lot of ourselves and our thoughts into the characters.
It's the happiest I've ever felt. But it's complicated.
Is it strong?
Me and Harry, we're the same age practically at the same time. I think we're experiencing a lot of the same feelings at the same time, and so I think I can associate with them, really.
Shall we?
Wand at the ready.
Each film has challenged me because I'm going to unknown territory, basically.
Rises 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Expecto Patronum!
It was so clear how suited these kids are to play their characters.
Please, sir. An animagus is a wizard who elects to turn into an animal. A werewolf has no choice.
Oh!
She's taken it for 3 years, and suddenly, it's like it's uncontrollable.
Look who's here. Ah, come to see the show.
She's rock and roll. She's girl-powered.
Foul and loathsome, evil little cockroach. Hermione, no. He's not worth it.
And instead of, you know, keep walking, just ignore him. That's it. Smack.
That felt good.
It's really fun. It's like, in a way, kind of going back to school, but much, much better than that.
Exactly what is that?
That run is a hippogriff.
The relationship between the three kids has changed, the three main characters. They're much older, and that really shows in all sorts of different ways.
I think that means you owe someone an apology.
Right. Next time I see Crookshanks, I'll let him know.
I meant me.
They're teenagers, and I think there's sort of an ongoing stress, and a lot is put on the relationship between the three of them, and they really rely on each other.
Never told me about any Marauders, Matt.
But he's not going to keep it. He's going to turn it into Professor McGonagall, aren't you?
Oh, sure, along with his invisibility cloak.
At one point in the film, I think that Crookshank has eaten my rat, so that starts a big argument up with Hermione. I think that's quite fun to do.
And this bloody cat ate my rat.
That's a lie.
It is not, and you bloody well know it.
It's their first fight, basically, their first argument. They're just doing it because there's always this threat that they might actually like each other, and they don't like that at all.
You realize that you're in a different world now. These aren't kids anymore.
There's a lot of angst in there now. I think in the first two films he was slightly nervous about actually really making a stand towards the Dursleys, but in this film there's a major stand towards the Dursleys. I just pack up and leave of my own accord. I basically run away from their home.
That's pretty powerful. You know, the fact that he's taking a stand and he's walking away from this nonsense.
I'm picked up by the night bus. Basically, the night bus is this bus which is a purple triple-decker bus. It's actually quite funny as well.
Little old lady at 12 o'clock!
Tried to do is to detect the theme of the film. That was about this kid finding his identity. Is learning that both the fears and the power to fight them reside within.
The demons are no longer just the monsters in the closet, the basilisks, the giant spiders and the likes, but actually the demons begin to become from within.
Over the first two films, he's kind of developed this image in his own mind of him being this kind of all-powerful kind of wizard. He's defeated Voldemort twice, and he's getting more confident about his powers, but then he faints when he sees something called a Dementor.
And the Dementors, for me, were about depression, not just sadness. And I think Alfonso's really done a great job on that.
Because Harry has such horrific memories in his past, when the Dementors take all the happiness out of his mind, he is left with some absolutely horrible images. It acts almost as a wake-up call to say, actually, I do have weaknesses. I'm not that kind of powerful or that strong.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is the third in the successful film series and promises to be the most engaging yet.
Hey guys, why the long faces? I think visually it's going to be very exciting.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Room 11.
It's quite fascinating because the magic never kind of goes. I mean, I remember walking into this great hall the first time and just not believing it. It was just so amazing. And it still has that effect on one when it's all going, when the candles are moving up and down. It's a magic place to be.
At the request of the Ministry of Magic, Hogwarts will, until further notice, play host to the Dementors of Azkaban, until such a time as Sirius Black is captured.
Sadly, before filming could commence on the third film, a main member of the wizard family would no longer be with them. Richard Harris, who played Dumbledore in the first two films, passed away in October 2002.
It was a great loss to us.
Quite remarkable, yes. Any theory as to how he managed it?
Oh. Actor Michael Gambon was cast as Dumbledore for Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
I do not think a single professor in this castle would help Sirius Black to enter it, Severus. I'm quite convinced the castle is safe, and I'm willing to allow the students to return to their houses for tomorrow. For now, let them sleep.
Dumbledore is who Dumbledore is. Wise, eccentric, with a twinkle in his eye, and I think Michael has all of those qualities, and those were the qualities that we were looking for.
Let them swim in the deepest ocean or glide high above the clouds. He's awake. It's like every actor's fantasy, isn't it? Being something like Dumbledore being a Harry Potter. Welcome, welcome to another year at Hogwarts.
He doesn't replace Richard. He is not doing Richard Harris. He is doing Michael Gambon's Dumbledore, and it's wonderful.
Now, I have a few things to say before we all become befuddled by our excellent feast.
What I like about Michael's performance in the film is that he hasn't even tried to fill Richard's shoes, because that would be pointless, because Richard was completely unique.
At this point, you know, we add the thing as happiness can be found even in the darkest times if one only remembers to turn on the light. And then, well, I think
that's everything of importance. Let's begin the feast.
That is very good. Our approach of Dumbledore is a little, just slightly different than before. A little bit more mischievous, almost like an old hippie, a hippie chic. At the same time, we didn't want to alienate the people who grew with the first two films of Harry Potter with Richard Harris, so we didn't want to really make a drastic change there.
It's been wonderful. You know, I feel as I've been in it for years.
Joining the cast of characters haunting the halls of Hogwarts are Gary Oldman, David Thewlis, and Emma Thompson.
Together we shall cast ourselves into the future.
This is a stunning cast this time, and they're so good, all those guys.
Ridiculous!
Professor Lupin is the new Defence Against the Dark Arts teacher. The kids are very fond of Lupin. I think he's described as their favourite teacher they've had in the school, which wouldn't be difficult because there's quite a few not so nice teachers in the school.
You're more like them than you know, Harry. In time, you'll come to see just how much.
The key emotional scenes, which basically make up the heart of the film, seem to me to be between Harry and Lupin almost every time.
He's one of the last surviving links Harry has to his parents. He's a great comfort to Harry.
Let's try again. You feel ready? As before, but in order for it to work, you must think of a memory. And not just any memory, a very happy memory, a very powerful memory. Can you do that?
It was a great cast. I think they did a phenomenal job.
Better be Gryffindor!
It's been nearly 3 years since a boy wizard first crawled out of his cupboard on the set of Privet Drive. And for Daniel, Emma, and Rupert, life has never been the same.
It's such a privilege to meet so many different people from all over the world. I do love filming. I just love the work. I love doing the acting part of it. I just love it.
Daniel's a great guy. How he's managed to stay as he is, been taken from such an early age and turned into one of the most recognisable people on the face of the earth, and still remains bright and witty and bonkers as he is, with no affectations, is real credit to him.
Harry.
Dan? They're superb kids. Very well disciplined, accurate, on the ball, sharp.
I really am amazed at how good they are.
We've always been together through some crazy, amazing people, places, experiences. They're the only people that I can talk to who understand what I'm saying, because they've been there and seen it all with me.
It's a sense of real pride to see that these kids have become such accomplished professional actors. It's like seeing your own children up on screen.
I just think they're great, and they're teenagers now, I can't believe it, but they are such nice people, off screen as well.
Harry Potter has become a beloved film experience for audiences of all ages. with many years of movie magic still to come.
Children are terribly susceptible to novelty, but they come back to Potter again and again because it's about something. It's not just entertainment. It is about what it's like to be that age.
What they'll get is a Harry Potter film, but a Harry Potter film which has developed and grown from the first two. It is deeply moving, and is a fun adventure.
No one who's read the book is going to be at all disappointed. And I'm completely happy, and what more can I say?
Expecto Patronum!
Now an exclusive peek at the new movie where Harry, Hermione, and Ron take time to learn more about the mysteries of magic.
Mysterious thing, time. Powerful, and when meddled with, dangerous. You know the laws, Miss Granger. You must not be seen, and you would do well, I feel, to return before this last chime. If you succeed tonight, more than one innocent life may be spared. Oh, by the way, when in doubt, I find retracing my steps to be a wise place to begin. Good luck.
What the bloody hell was that all about?
Sorry, Ron, but seeing as you can't walk.
Harry's story is not over. As life at Hogwarts continues, who knows what magic and mysteries are yet to come.